I've been doing this work for years. I'm talking about over a decade worth of therapy. I created countless videos on the topic of self-reflection, self-discovery, personal development, inner work, all these things. And still, I keep falling back into the same old patterns. And for a long time, that felt like failure. And I want to tell you why it's not. Now, what does falling back means to me specifically in my own life? It's falling back into old eating patterns, eating behaviors, exercising behaviors. Yesterday I decided to go to the grocery store and buy a whole bunch of crap, donuts, Oreo cookies, milk, cereal, cheese, all kinds of high calorie dense foods. And I know what's gonna happen, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna cook my dinner, and then I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna be like, I really crave something sweet now. And then I open one package of Oreo cookies and I start eating the cookies, and I open a second package, and before I know it, all the sweets that I bought are gone into my belly. And then I feel so heavy, I feel really not so good in my body. But I no longer treat it with a deep loathing, a deep shaming, a deep judgment, I used to blame myself and tell myself, oh no, look what you've done, you're such a worthless human being, so shameful, how could you, you're so bad, all these calories, you're gonna get fat, nobody's gonna ever love you, you don't have any discipline, it's disgusting what you do here, you eat so much stuff that's unhealthy and it's so greedy and people are dying from hunger in the world and you should be ashamed of yourself. This inner dialogue was there all the time, like so much violence happening inside because I ate a whole bunch of unhealthy foods. And I would want to get rid of this feeling, and I would want to go and exercise the next day, the whole day, don't eat, work out, run, swim, get rid of the calories, because I was so scared to get fat. And even though I knew I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be engaging in this behavior, or I shouldn't be engaging in this behavior, I still kept doing it. The next day I would have exercised and starve myself the whole day, and then in the night again I would be so hungry and just completely do the same thing again, right? And that was very tiring, especially because of the inner dialogue that was going on, the harsh inner criticism that I put on myself. And so I wanted to change something about it. It felt like it kept going. It was a cycle, never-ending cycle. And inside a part of me wanted things to be different. And every pattern starts as a solution to some kind of struggle or difficulty that we have, right? For me, binging on this food, it helps me ground into my body, it helps me come back to the present moment, even though when I'm eating all the food, it's like a different state, it's almost like a high, But then when the high subsides, I drop into some kind of, there is a weight to my body, literally, because there's so much food inside my body, so it really grounds me. There is a clearly there's a clear effect of this behavior. It's pleasurable also, if you live a life that is based around having to show up, discipline, productivity, managing your image in front of people, and so on and so on, then it can feel like such a relief to let go and to just eat, right? And so I met a very special guy not so long ago in a co-living space, and I connected with him like right away. And at some point, I started talking to him about this behavior, my binging behavior. In the night, I would eat so much stuff, and I feel so ashamed about that. And he was like, "But you're just eating a whole bunch of cookies and sweets. It's nice to eat sweets, and cookies are delicious. You know what? Next time when you feel like you want to do this, just let me know. We'll go to the grocery store together. We'll buy all the cookies and the sweets you can think of, the most delicious ones, as many as you want. We'll bring them home, and you can just we'll sit on the terrace, and I'll smoke my cigarette and drink a coffee, and you can eat your cookies, and we'll just be there together." And when he responded like that, I bursted out in laughter, because I was, first of all, like was so surprised. It was a bit embarrassed and a bit uncomfortable, and then the tears started coming, because I was like, wait a minute, he doesn't think I'm a pig. He doesn't think I'm a horrible human being because I engage in this type of behavior. He doesn't think I'm shameful, or that I should be embarrassed and yeah, ashamed of myself. And he was like, "Of course not. What's wrong with eating a whole bunch of cookies?" And that conversation really changed something for me. I realized the innocence of my behavior. It's a solution to a situation. I'm feeling alone, I'm feeling bored, I'm feeling a lack of embodiment, or a lack of groundedness, and then I grab for food. This is just a pattern that helps me achieve a certain state of being in myself. It's very innocent. I'm not killing someone, I'm not hurting other people, and it's a very powerful tool to regulate my body. Even though, of course, there is different ways of finding stillness and grounding in the body and experiencing pleasure. There's many different ways to do that, but for me, it seems like this behavior, it's one of the most reliable ways to have the experience that I sometimes crave. And so nowadays, when I binge, for example, yesterday I had a whole bunch of unhealthy foods, I embrace myself with some sort of warm hug, an acceptance. The way my friend looked at me when I shared with him how ashamed I feel when I ate all these cookies. We just ate a whole bunch of cookies. Cookies are delicious. Why not? So I see the innocence of that behavior, and I embrace it. I say, okay, apparently tonight you were craving sweets and you ate a lot of sweets, and that's okay. This whole story of you're a horrible person for doing that, it's no longer pushing me down. It's there. I am aware of the part in me that judges me, that wants to hurt, that is violent. It lives in me, this inner, this violence. But it's no longer the main character in the experience. I approach it with a curiosity, with an acceptance, with an embrace. Sure, great. You ate lots of cookies. I hope you enjoyed it at least. And if not, that's also fine. You wanted to eat lots of cookies, and tomorrow probably you will feel not so good. And today I feel quite alright, to be honest. Usually I feel really bad. I just don't want to get out of bed. And it's like a hangover feeling. Food hangovers are real. They feel like a weekend of heavy drinking with your friends or something. Like my body is so, wow. My belly feels really awful. But today I feel quite fine. I just went for a swim, and I will take it easy today, and tomorrow is another day, and we can continue. And maybe tomorrow I again decide to eat a lot of cookies, and that's all right. I don't have to condemn this behavior. It's only when you start to really judge, when I start to really judge myself, and this whole story of what a horrible person I am for doing this, for engaging in this behavior, then the real suffering comes, because the discomfort in the belly, it's okay. The heaviness in myself, it's okay. It's the mental load that really does something that is not right. It doesn't feel right to continue to criticize in such a way. There is nothing wrong with engaging in an old pattern. I think the problem starts to arise when it interferes with other people's well-being, and it significantly interferes with other people's well-being. Then there should be at least a conversation about it, or then it's affecting other people, and then it's important to check in with these other people how it's affecting them. But if it's a behavior that you don't really hurt anyone with, I personally don't think it's useful to condemn it, to blame it, to judge it, to reject it. And I've been trying to get rid of this addictive behavior or this unwanted behavior. And I've looked for ways on how to quit binge eating, how to overcome food addiction, blah, blah, blah. But it keeps coming back. Sometimes I just want to eat a whole bunch of sweets and feel a bit crappy the next day. That's fine, And I felt like such a hypocrite to want to talk about this in a way that I'm kind of over it or something, or I healed from binge eating, I healed my relationship with food. I think it's an ongoing conversation. It's an ongoing conversation, and sometimes you're fighting with your spouse, and sometimes you're making love to your spouse, and sometimes you don't really feel connected, and sometimes you feel really connected. It just continues to change. There is no such thing as arriving at the end goal. And for some people it might work, they might never ever want to eat such a big amount of food ever again in their lives, because they're just like, I just don't want to do that anymore, and it's not what I enjoy. But I actually, a part of me really enjoys doing that, and by approaching it with a curiosity and a compassionate, kind acceptance, the suffering disappears.